Well, the case of Firdaos, let me tell you that Firdaos is my student, and I took her some courses, and the issue of hijab continue to recur. Even during their lectures, we have many of our professors who have written about it, and to look at the constitutionality of the students, particularly of higher institution, or particularly at the law school, to wear hijab during the call. So it has been on, and the agitation has been there, I can say, for decades. I can recall even during our time at the law school, there were a number of issues that people will bring up, that don't we have the right? But it appears as if you have not gotten somebody to say, well, I think I have the right, that I should show the whole world that that right belongs to me. And that right is constitutional. Based on that belief, for such persons who insist that constitutionally is entitled to wear hijab to the call. So, talking about law, we have the law, the Constitution, Section 38 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, that for a long time we have not had opportunity of its interpretation, and that's why people will argue for or against. But in the recent time, it has been judicially pronounced upon, particularly on the issue of hijab. So we have had court cases in Nigeria. We had one in Ilorin. But that of Ilorin is not just about the hijab. It's about niqab, the one that covers the face. And the court held in that case, that's Bashirat Salim against the Kwara State College of Education in Ilorin. Up to the Court of Appeal, at the Court of First Instance, High Court Ilorin, Court of Appeal, it was held that the student of College of Education has the right to wear a hijab, even during the exams. And as I said, that has to do with the call. So we have also had occasion in Lagos State, on the case of AbdulKadir against the government of Lagos State. And that also got to Court of Appeal. And in fact, a special panel of Court of Appeal has to be constituted for that case to ensure that there's a balance of even the judges that are going to handle it. At the end of the day, we had a unanimous decision that the students of secondary school have right to use hijab as part of their uniform. Now, coming to the issue of law school, the case of Firdaos, as I say, I will not be surprised because it is a thing that has been ongoing. I remember in the last 3 years, we had our Akambi Faculty of Law annual lecture. We just had the 10th edition about 3 days ago. But 3 years ago, that question came up during the question and answer session of the lecture. I remember it was Professor Popola of Bafemi Awolowo University that was the guest lecturer. The students, as I said, the concern has always been there. They read our articles, they read, submission of professors on these issues, and question arose as to whether what the professors are writing are just theory. And a question was asked during that lecture. Well, as you expect, the opinion was divided. But when you have some very senior member of the profession saying, no, whoever is not interested saying no, whoever is not interested in the way it's been done can go and do any other course. But that's just begging the question. I appreciate the contribution of Professor Popola of Bafemi Awolowo University. He said, look, we are in Nigeria. a good percentage of those being called to the bar every year are Muslims who are entitled to their religious right, which right is being recognized by our constitution, fundamental human right for that matter. So to just waive it and say whoever is not interested should go to other professions, it goes beyond that. We are just begging the question. It's for us to face it frontally and be sensitive to the religious sensibility of people who have had to live together. So the his response was that, look, there is need for engagement and re-engagement on this issue. There is need for us to sit down. For crying out loud sake, how would somebody just think for the number of years that the rule having to do with dress code of the legal profession does not require review for decades? Assuming we have not had Muslims to be members of this profession who are also guided by the dictate of the right of their religion that is being protected by the constitution, the moment you have a single person, that's what differentiates us from the developed world. The moment you have a single member of that protection whose right is to be protected, they will not wait for that person to agitate before it's given consideration. And if that right is not given consideration and he raised the issue, they will engage themselves, discuss it, look at the possibility, and amend where it's appropriate. But unfortunately here, you have a group of religious people who are at each other's throat on every religious matter. That, look, we are not going to allow it. However your number, that has been the behavior. And that behavior is reminiscent of the way our society, Nigeria as a whole, the way we behave. So unfortunately that also crept into the legal profession now. Now you have heard the comment of the president. There have been so many attacks on the president of the Nigerian Bar Association because he said the debate is needless, that the controversy is needless, and that's the truth. You look at military officers, female military officers in the US who are allowed to wear their hijab. In the UK, were allowed to wear their hijab. They sing. Those are the Buddhists, mostly of Indian origin. Look at them in UK, even as judges, they wear their turban. So what are we now saying? Now, if it's about our common law, this is where our common law originated from. Do we know it more than them? Or are we now saying, oh, it doesn't matter, we are special, we are a species of people who do not bother about the sensibility of other people? So I think what is needed is for us to always be proactive, even as a people, whether in the profession or as a people of the nation, to say, as if we are to continue to live together, what are the ways that we are going to respect individuals' rights, group rights, be positive about their sensibility. You don't talk to insult others. You don't think as if others do not exist. Yes, that's the word. You don't behave as if others do not exist and it should be your own way. It's supposed to be give and take. Give and take. And we sit together and say, now what one would expect in these circumstances? Let's sit back. Is there a right that is to be respected? Those are the issues. And people tell you, she knows that that's the rule of the Prophet. Does that rule remove the right? Or is that rule strong enough to abrogate that person's, to infringe on that person's constitutional right, fundamental right for that matter? So these are the issues that we should be discussing. And if that right truly exists, people now ask, how should she behave that way? Now, for God's sake, the question we're going to ask whoever thinks that way is that, how will she have behaved? When the whole of the nation, when the whole of the professional does not think that she's supposed to have the right. you expect her to go to court even before she registered to the law school. We have had occasions of those who challenge the establishment through the court, and they say, okay, we are a member of the profession, and we have a number of them that are never got to the bar. But as we are talking now, the question we should be asking is, does the right exist? And we are going to ask ourselves, if the Court of Appeal has pronounced on this, does that rule still supersede the constitutional provision and the judicial pronouncement that has been made on it? And I think, in my own view, this question will be answered positively, that the right exists, there has been pronouncement on it. As a profession, probably we have not been sensitive enough, and there is need for us to sit again and look at it, discuss it. If there is need for review, let's review. Since the time this issue came up, we have seen a lot of posts, and we have seen provision of dress code of the Law Council of Kenya. If you look at the percentage of Muslims that will be called to bar in Kenya, they will be far, far insignificant compared to the number of Muslims to be called to the bar in Nigeria. So if those people who do not have the percentage of Muslims in Nigeria are forthright, think ahead and say, look, for those whose religious belief demand that they should wear religious gear, and they now set rule to guide it. That's the way to think. So you don't just sit back and say, no, we don't recognize you, do not exist. What you expect is that people have been keeping quiet for a long time. People have been begging the question. We're in the age that people will now say, I have a right, and I believe in that right, and I want to ask for my right. That's my thought about it.
Thank you very much, sir. From what we had some people are planning a protest, a rally in support of Firdaos, targets justice for Firdaos, and discrimination against hijab. What's your view on that, sir?
Well, my view is that in all civilized nations of the world, protest is one of the ways allowed by the Constitution for people to express their displeasure, their disagreement, their grievances about a particular situation. So it's constitutional. But I will sound a word of caution that we have to be very careful. In those parts of the world where they organize protest, it's peaceful. It's just an expression that we, this group of people, these are belief. People who go to the White House to protest. They will go to be very careful. In those parts of the world where they organize protest, it's peaceful. It's just an expression that we, this group of people, these are belief. People who go to the White House to protest. They will go to the government places, the legislature, to show their grievances. So protest is allowed, but we have to be very careful in Nigeria, because I don't think we have grown to a level to know how to manage protest. There are people who take advantage of protest. You now see hoodlum hijacking protest. So I will sound a word of caution that protest is legal, is constitutional. But in Nigeria, we have to be very careful about it. Whoever is thinking about it, they have to be very careful so that we do not go against them at the end of the day. Because if people protest and some people now hijack it, those who organize it should be ready to be responsible.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. According to the, I want to ask, is there any rules and regulation of the law schools that see that she didn't have the right to use the hijab?
Well, the argument, I've seen a lot of arguments in this, for and against. We have our dress code. The dress code for a lawyer